But God cares, and He can. He's able to do something about our situation. So I hope they note that your God fits you and encourages you. Now, you know, the book is full of illustrations, is full of experiences, because I was born in the Holy Lands, and like Jesus' approach, I like to tell a lot of experiences. This one experience, to tell us how we can become Christ-like. Because today we want to talk about being Christ-like as far as genuine spirituality is concerned. And so a story is told about a little boy who loved Jesus with all his heart. He was only about 4.5 years old. And he loved to go to Sabbath school. He loved to memorize verses from the Bible. He loved to pray and sing songs about Jesus. He was a little disciple of Jesus. And what happened was, he believed that when he invited Christ to come into his life, that Christ in fact went into his life. You know, children at that age take things literally. They cannot think in the abstract. Developmental psychologists tell us that children take things literally. They are not yet developed enough mentally to think in the abstract. So when he asked Jesus to come to live in his heart, he believed Jesus entered his heart. But what puzzled him was this. How could Jesus, who is so much taller and bigger than him, be able to physically fit inside of him? He even wondered when he ate Cheerios for breakfast if Jesus enjoyed Cheerios. Puzzled him, how could Jesus, when I invite him to come and live in my life, how can he fit inside of me? He became so curious that he asked his daddy. He said, "Daddy, how tall am I?" He said, "Well, you're still very small, 3 feet something." He said, "Well, how tall are you, Daddy?" He said, "Well, I'm 5'10", but you'll grow, son. You'll be as tall as, maybe taller." But that wasn't his concern, really. His concern was, how tall is Jesus? He asked his dad, "Daddy, please tell me, how tall is Jesus?" And the father said, "I don't know, I never measured Jesus. But he must be tall because he is Jesus. He probably is as tall as a basketball player, maybe 6'4", 6'6", because he's Jesus." By the way, how tall is Jesus in your life? What stands tall in your life? Think about it for a moment. Does Jesus stand the tallest in your life? More than anything else, more than anybody else? Is there somebody in your life who stands taller than Jesus? I asked this question in one of my classes. A young lady came to me afterwards. She said, "I'm sorry to tell you, when you asked this question, I was convicted. My boyfriend stands taller than Jesus." Is there anything in your life? Is there something in your life that stands taller than Jesus? Possessions, achievements, position. Is there anything in your life that stands taller than Jesus? How tall does he stand in your life? Anyway, going back to the story, this little boy started thinking, the wheels started turning in his mind. He said, "Daddy, then when I invite Jesus into my life and he lives there, and I'm so small, and he is so big, then he must always be sticking out of me. He must always be sticking out of me." And what a wonderful theological statement that summarizes the whole Christian faith. Christ becomes so big in our lives that we cannot contain him. He always sticks out of us. We are so small and he's so big that he always sticks out of us. So when people encounter us, they don't see us, they see Jesus in our lives. Like John the Baptist said when he saw Jesus, "He must increase and I must decrease." In other words, Jesus increases so much in our lives that he squeezes himself out. It's amazing to say, it's amazing to think of it this way, that the devil doesn't mind if we take this very text, but reverse the order and start with decreasing and then increasing. We say, look, I must decrease and then Christ will increase. We begin to work hard on ourselves, try to humble ourselves, try to be righteous, try to accomplish great works on our own. But you see, self is such a slave master, nobody can subdue it except Jesus. If you try really, really hard, you become a legalist. You cannot subdue yourself on your own. Only Christ can do that. How does He do that? By increasing in our lives. He must first of all increase in my life, and I decrease. And just this little boy, then Jesus sticks out of us. Because we're so small and He's so big, He must always stick out of us. I mentioned to you earlier what Ellen White said by inspiration, that the highest office we can occupy is to be a disciple of Jesus. The highest office. I thought a lot about this during these presidential elections. Aren't you glad, by the way, they're over with? I think in this country, we spend too much time electing people. You know, in Europe, it takes like 2 months, 5 months, that's it. With us, it's like 17 months. And they're already thinking about 2016. Please give me a break, okay? So I thought a lot about that. People, senators, Congress people, presidential candidates, everybody is want to have the highest office in the land. Till I thought about this inspired statement. If we seek a high office, seek the high office of being Christ's disciple. And you'll have the highest office next only to Christ. Then I want to use other superlatives. And the other superlative is the highest ambition, the greatest joy, the highest position in life, the greatest recognition in life, all of those superlatives. We read in the book Thoughts Among the Blessings, page 15, that human nature is always restless, looking for recognition. We're elbowing ourselves to notice me, I'm here, I'm important. But he who submits to Christ and sits at His feet to learn from Him, he is emptied of self. He becomes really small, he decreases, he is emptied of self. And now he is not anxious anymore to seek the highest position, because he already has the highest position in life. What is that? Even sitting at the feet of Jesus. So sitting at the feet of Jesus, you already reach the highest position in life. Even higher than President Obama. If you're looking for a higher position, look no further. Today you came to sit at the feet of Jesus, to learn His ways, to learn His methods, to become Christ-like, to be revived. If you're willing to sit at the feet of Jesus and learn of Jesus, you're told that you have reached the highest position in life. Sitting at the feet of Jesus. It's interesting. I was asked one time to speak at General Conference session to give one of the sermons, the delegates from around the world, and they asked me to speak on the subject of radical discipleship. And then, by the way, I work at General Conference. I want to be gracious to all my friends there, but we all have this human nature we struggle with. It was time for election at the General Conference session. So people were concerned Will they be re-elected? Will they be demoted? Will they be promoted? It's a human concern. My solution to that is leave it to God. Whatever He wants, that's the best. I never ever want to work too hard for my job, because if I work too hard, then I always wonder if it was me or the Holy Spirit. Are you with me? I mean, don't people worry about that? If you really, really campaign for your job, how do you know it was the impetus of the Holy Spirit or impetus of self? So I especially relax and smile and allow the Holy Spirit to call me somewhere or not to call me, because wherever I am, I want to know I'm there because of the Holy Spirit. So anyway, I talked to some of my friends. Some were concerned, anxious. I said, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. What about if I wasn't elected? Then I might have to do some pastoring. What's wrong with that? Don't we tell our people being a pastor is the most important thing? Do we really mean it? I think it would be a great idea if we have a rotation system. Amen. I mean, wouldn't that be nice for a conference president to pastor for a while to know how the folks down there feel like? We could have rotation of duties and offices. All of us can experience something, and we can appreciate each other more and sympathize with each other more. So anyway, when I gave my sermon, this was my subject. My dear friends, leaders from around the world, some of you are happy. You're re-elected or promoted. Some of you are not, because you still wonder what's going to happen to you. But I have good news for you. I have the most wonderful news for you, and the good news is this. By inspiration, we're told in Thoughts from Mount Blessings that the highest position we can reach, I look at all the leaders, even higher than the highest office at a John Conference, even higher than any office in the world, if you and I, no matter what our position is, church members, delegates, pastors, general conference president, vice president, if right now all of us feel convicted, and I want us to be convicted by the Holy Spirit, to sit at the feet of Jesus, then we have reached the highest position in life. Just think about that. Because you can be the president of the General Conference or the union or the division, but unless you're sitting at the feet of Jesus, you're not going to go anywhere. I'd rather have the highest position of sitting at the feet of Jesus than any other position in life. And if you really believe that, it radically transforms your life. It gives you security and boldness. You're not worried anymore because you're in the care of keeping of Jesus. If you look at a page, by the way, look at page 15 for a moment. Page 15. Look at the last paragraph. Well, not the last paragraph, just about the bottom 5-6 lines. Look at this. I'm going to read that to you. After all, we must possess what we profess and perform. Our duty to Christ must ever be linked to our devotion to Christ. Now I'm quoting here from Education, page 297. When once the gaze is fixed upon Him, Jesus, the life finds its center. Duty becomes a delight, and sacrifice a pleasure. To honor Christ, to become like Him, to work for Him, is the life's highest ambition. Highest ambition. Pastor Samaan, what's your highest ambition? What's your highest ambition in life? To be Christ-like. That's my ambition. To be Christ-like more and more every day. And to work for Jesus is our greatest joy. Can you imagine? Let me practice on somebody here. Well, I know Pastor Day, so I know his name. You don't mind if I... Let's suppose for a moment you are sitting at the feet of Jesus, learning to reach out to others, learning to help them become followers of Jesus, devoted to Jesus. And the Lord led me to Brother Day to witness to him. And he accepts Jesus, he becomes a disciple, and he is faithful to Jesus until Jesus comes. In heaven, I will see Brother Day. I see him. And we'll recognize each other. Yet we look much better.
Hopefully.
Some of us, much better than before. But I'll recognize you. In Hinduism, you don't recognize anybody because nirvana is like you become a drop of water, lost in the ocean. No identity at all. You become a part of nothingness, really. No, in the Christian faith, we'll be able to recognize each other.
Amen.
We'll all have our identity.